Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today PTR was actually up and available for testing with the Warlock changes that we talked about in yesterday's video. Changes to Aff, changes to Demo, one minor change to Destro, pretty much unnoticeable, I guess. But today I want to look at them in combat. A couple more changes were actually made that were data mined last night. Look at them in combat, talk about what's wrong, what the new bugs are. There are some bugs present now, spoilers ahead. Getting into the final week or so of, well, PTR. Like always, week course add-ons down below. Twitch, Discord if you want them. All for free for you guys. The 10.2 Warlock spreadsheet is also live on Patreon for those that would like early access to it at the tier 3 Battleguard rank or higher. If you like that, link is up here as well as down below. Or if you just want to support in general on Patreon, I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's start off with Affliction. Alright, so the Affliction changes. There were two. Talked about them yesterday. I guess two or three, depending how you want to look at it. The Soldier's Gluttony change here has indeed been redesigned. This is PTR, so you can see I have 2 points in it. It is a 30-second reduction, making Soul Rot half a minute, which syncs perfectly with Vile Taint. So we'll look at that number one in combat here. At the same time, if you want to play Singularity for whatever reason, you can put 1 point in Gluttony and the other point somewhere else and have a perfect sync on Singularity to Soul Rot or Vile Taint to Soul Rot at 2 out of 2. So when it comes to like CDs in the raid, solid quality life increase, even in plus, being able to sync Vile Taint and Soul Rot together are going to be very, very strong. Perfectly. Because there's this odd like back and forth of, well, I have my Vile Taint up, but Soul Rot's up in 10 seconds, and my Dark Lair's up in like 20. What do I do? It was a mess. Now it'll be a lot better. At the same time, a handful of fights in the raid, Smolderon, the first boss, Nora Root, Tindral being the Dragon Riding boss, one of the last ones, that have either damage amps on them or shields need to be broken, and having a cooldown in Soul Rot being half a minute long, which increases your rapture damage from your tier bonus every half minute, is very, very strong. So big change here, solid change for Aff. We'll look at it a minute here in combat and go from there. Number two, fix an issue where Umberfire Kindling, this is the buff your tier bonus gives, would only increase the damage of Seed of Corruption to the main target. So this has been fixed, but there's also a new bug. We'll look at that, well, in a minute as well. So when it comes to the single target stuff, it's actually very simple. I mean, it's for the most part like the same Aff we played for a while, but there were these odd points in time where we're going to open up here. There were these odd points in time. What trinket do I have on this thing? Cool. Where you would end up, like, let's say, going into your Dark Lair, I'm pulling everything, the casting Vile Taint and Soul Rot on cooldown together, which meant that you had to hold your Vile Taint for like 10-ish seconds, give or take. And you would eventually end up having to cast your second Dark Lair at like 2:30-ish, 2:25, 2:30, maybe even a bit later at time, because you're pushing back your CDs to try and accommodate for the odd desync on Vile Taint and Soul Rot being, based on UA ticks and all that with the old version of Soul Rot and Gluttony. That is fixed. No longer an issue because it syncs perfectly. You can see Soul Rot, Vile Taint synced up so like really well, really nice. It feels great, all the above. Once again, I mean, off cooldown here, right into the Vile Taint, right into the Soul Rot, and you can Rapture a bunch. Rapture, still a bug there, which we just caught on camera as well. There's still that bug present there, where if you Rapture, if you cast your Soul Rot and have a Crescendo proc queued up, and you slam the Crescendo like right after your Soul Rot cast finishes, it won't extend your dots. Hopefully that's fixed at some point. I don't know when exactly, but I mean, it's been sort of passed along, I guess, so we'll find out. But yeah, like a great sync on things, and once again, like, a lot of damage profiles in this raid want like semi-frequent cooldowns. Smolderon, once again, being a great example. Also here again, just bolt, bang, bang, right there. Caught that Crescendo proc. Being able to have that burst window basically every half minute, very strong. Sort of how Demo used to be with Decon when you had that weird like minute damage profile with Decon and things. This is like half a minute. Not as strong as Decon, but still nonetheless a solid and unique profile to have in the majority of settings, right? So we're going to go Corruption here, refresh dots a little bit, drain for a second, refresh this Crescendo. We have Soul Rot and Vile Taint in about 3 here. We're going to go Siphon Life, cast these two, cast both, hit that, Rapture a little bit. Once again, Haunt also extended by dots, or by your 4-piece whenever you cast it, your 3 Raptures, and we're going to drain. Look at my Dark Lair sync, right? We're about 15 off Dark Lair, and about 18 off Vile Taint and Soul Rot. There's no more weird holding your Dark Lair to like 2:30-ish, depending on cooldowns. You just have them. When you have them, they line up perfectly, and it works out great, right? You're going to refresh here, hit this, refresh my Haunt, do this, we drain for a second, hope for a proc. Didn't get one, such as life. Trinkets, Dark Lair, and there you go. Perfect sequence, perfect cycling. Aff feels much better. Your cooldowns line up. Dark Lair still sucks, does like no damage at all. It is a very, very, very bad cooldown. Where is it? It's here. It is below Corruption. It is actually just terrible, but nonetheless, hey, you know, at least it feels a little better to play. So, yeah. Now, when it comes to the Seed of Corruption change they did, so the previous, I guess the bug, however you want to word it, was that it would your Seed of Corruption, your 2-piece, the Soul Rot cast buff Seed of Corruption. It did work with Sow the Seeds. It technically buffed every seed, but it only dealt the increased damage, 60%, to the target you cast seed on, your priority target. However you want to word that or think about it, you know, it is what it is. That has been fixed, and the way you saw it here was essentially, you could tell on the 4-target dummy stack here, because if you pulled up a combat log, you'd see Seed of Corruption hit one mob 3 times for more damage than the rest, right? And you could confirm with other ways too, I'm sure, but either way, that was fixed from what things look like. But the issue now is that we are back to having the Vault of the Incarnates only buffing 1 seed bug. It only buffs 1 seed, not all 3 anymore. That 1 seed will hit all the targets for more damage, but the other 2 won't at all. So just to show this here, we're gonna go into combat. All I'm gonna do is cast a seed. Here's my combat log. Make it very large. So you're gonna see 4 targets here. Or you're going to see a bunch of targets hit by seed. There's going to be 4 targets that are hit for extra damage from the seed, right? So we're going to cast a Soul Rot just to get the buff up. We're going to let Soul Rot fall to make it easier on us. The buff lasts longer than the actual dot, which is good. Let it fall here. Going to cast Seed about now. There's Seed with Sow. Pop the Seed. So here we go. We have 25, 20, 25, 25, 25, 25, and the rest are 15k. This is a crit, so it's double. So this is what's happening. If there were 3 damage events here, it would basically confirm the old bug with, like, you know, hitting your prior target was still present. There are 4 targets still being hit, so that means only 1 seed is being buffed because, well, you know, if you count here, we have 12 explosions overall. 3 in your math, right? So hopefully, I mean, it's known. I mean, I'm sure it's known at this point. Hopefully it's fixed. I believe they fixed the seed bug in Vault towards the very end, like in, I think, like 10:05 or something. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon. The good thing is that it was acknowledged as a bug. So I'm assuming this is a bug as well. And when it's fixed, if it is fixed before PTR is over, Ash should gain a lot of damage when it comes to burst, snap, seed AoE in M+, and I guess any raid fight you want to play the seed build with so on. Let's look at Demonology. We're going to hit on Destro over here as well because, honestly, there's one change. I mean, it's sort of relevant, but not really. There was a bug with Dimensional Cinders. I guess it was critting twice, or benefiting twice from crits. I don't know. It was fixed. Cinders is the new, like, clause they added where AoE and does damage. I don't know. It's fixed. I don't know how to look at it. Probably a bit of a nerf, but it is what it is. Demo, anyway, so I'm not putting off Destro. Once again, for the 2 people who get mad at me every video, if you buff Destro or change it, we'll talk about it. But this is the only change we've had for about a month now, barring an Inferno buff. So there's that. So Demo stuff. Demo, once again, got the most changes today, I guess, essentially. So Doombrand is now more consistent with summoning a Doom Fiend. We were speculating last night that maybe it would, like, smart spread Doombrand if you hit a target with Doombrand already on it. Doesn't do that, unfortunately, is what it is. Doombrand now has a chance to summon a Doom Fiend when dispelled, rather than only when detonated, which is, you know, smart. Probably the reason they changed the text in the 4-piece. Doombrand is now only applied when consuming a demonic core. Immutable Hatred should no longer be lost if your Felguard's out of range. Instead, he will use it as soon as he's within range. Good lord, can't even talk, which is fine. And fixed an issue where Immutable Hatred was functioning as his previous iteration. There's still a bug on some characters now where Hatred's doing like a third of your damage. It's the same issue it was before. I made a new character. It's not bugged here, so it's fine. This character is working properly with Hatred. Hopefully it's fixed soon. Testing this week. Unless I fix it, it's going to be skewed again, but I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. So the Doombrand change. Now, they've changed the tier bonus to be, you know, spending a demonic core, consuming a demonic core, whatever applies to Doombrand. The same thing as it was before. Basically, all there is difference is, like, you can't, like, precast a demon bolt to apply an application of Doombrand. You're not going to be Doombranding by hardcasting bolts in AoE. It's the same thing essentially, but they also, was it mentioned here? I didn't know if I saw it. Yeah, so this change here, it looks like they've gone back to the Doomguard proc rate that we had last build, sort of. Doomguard is actually proccing a pretty good bit. It seems like they found a clause between, like, last week when it was proccing a million times and what they had initially. The damage is still pretty high. It's going to get tuned at some point, hopefully, probably within the next week or so. But we'll look at it here in single target. I'm filming now, so chances are high it's not going to proc, but, you know, because my luck, right, all that stuff. But, yeah, so let's do it. So we're going to go in here, apply a Doombrand early on, cast some dogs, open up normally for the most part. Got some refunds there, which is nice. Going to do this, going to hand a bit, pop this, strength, whatever. I need to get better at holding my demonic core to reapply Doombrand, because like it's awkward that it's only demonic cores now, and that I can't even hard cast a demon bolt if it falls like in combat and I have no cores for a while. I don't love that change, but it's just the world we live in. I guess it is what it is. So hoping for a proc here. Didn't get one, but oh, actually we did. There he is. He proc, and he's hitting for 108k without critting. He crit there for 208k. So he still hits pretty hard. There's some interesting interactions with him in certain trinkets where he hits very, very hard, and he procs quite often. He procs there, he procs again here. It's not guaranteed, but I haven't had a streak of more than like 4 Doombrands, I'm pretty sure, without a guarantee, without a proc in single target. He's pretty strong. I think if they ended up, I think this is the better place to land when it comes to like Doomguard procs and things, where you increase the proc rate back to where it was 2 weeks ago when it felt good, and you tune the damage around that, because you want to see your tier bonus proccing. You want it to be fun, you know, in combat and engaging, all that kind of stuff, right? Seeing it proc, being able to like, oh, sick, the Doomguard's here. That's awesome. Looks cool. Thematically, it's there. All that kind of stuff. That feels good. That feels cool. Good, you know, cool. I have my chorus here again. Can't even hardcast a bolt. Feels bad. But yeah, I feel like there's some underlying layer of bad luck protection as well, because I haven't gone a long time without getting a, you know, Doomguard proc. It's been like a max of 4 Doombrands. And you can see in single target here, I've only had 2 out of like 5 Doombrands. It's a good portion of my damage still, 12%. So I would assume there's one there as well. Watch him climb. I would assume tuning does come at some point for this. I don't know when exactly. It's still pretty high overall. Keep in mind, more damage in single target than does AoE. But I've also had streaks of like multiple Doombrands proccing back to back to back, and it's been like literally ahead of like my pet. It can be pretty wild, but glass half full, it procs a good bit, and it's actually pretty cool. Now, when it comes to Doomguards and AoE, thinking back to I guess a couple weeks ago, you had 4 or 5 Doomguards out at once. That has been nerfed in a sense, but it is still possible to get more than 1 Doomguard. So I'm gonna open up here. Might not be an optimal AoE rotation, just gonna sort of show like Doombrands, stuff like that. But either way, Grimoire, Vile Fiend, gonna cast a Doombrand again here, trying to brand multiple mobs, casting dogs, a couple of hands. We're gonna open up here. Now, you still want to spread your Doombrands. There's no like, you know, there's one right there, proccing, which is very cool. Maybe this one procs here too, that'd be sick. Did not, but either way, there's no way to like spread your Doombrands without just tab targeting. We were hoping that wouldn't be the case, but it ended up being it. It is what it is. Not much like to say about it, right? Now, if you're good at weaving brands here, I've seen Doombrands sitting somewhere around like 5 to 7% of my damage overall. And I've also been trying to see if I can get multiple Doomguards to proc at once in AoE. I've had 2 proc at one time. These jumping nameplates are driving me crazy. I've had 2 proc at one time, but it's pretty rare. And they most seem to proc like back to back, but you can get 2 at one time. Like, I mean, there's one back to back essentially. So they've added, there's actually 2 in general. So they've added some kind of like unique, it feels like internal, like maybe ICD or like lesser proc chance possibly if you have 1 active already, but you can indeed proc 2 at once. It's just cool. I don't know, I mean, Demo's damage profile on AoE is already pretty solid. I mean, Vile Fiend does damage now. You have your Tyrant every minute. You've got Dogs every minute with Tyrant extension. I mean, Guillotine, Demonic Strength, multiple Doomguards again, like I said. Demo looks pretty strong in like stat cleave AoE and plus next tier. I think people are sleeping on it a little bit, but it looks pretty good. And at the same time, proccing Doomguards is sick. Like, Doomguard is awesome. And like, you might be able to get 3 of them active anymore. You can still get 2 at once. And looking at my damage here, he procced again. He's hitting every mob 70k each. I mean, he's still a pretty large portion of my damage. So chances are high. Tuning comes to this version of the Doomguard as well. But in the end, if you have the option of having it proc more often and seeing it, and it feels cool, it feels good, all that kind of stuff, or having it proc, you know, once in a blue moon, but having a lot of damage tied behind it, which means even more RNG in a sense, I think you choose the proccing more often, nerf the damage, and hopefully tune it, you know, to be, well, you know, within line compared to everybody else. Yep, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it clarified, I guess, a bit more on the change we talked about in last night's video, which wasn't, able to be shown in combat because PTR was down, but PTR is up today. And I say overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Affliction's Soul Eater's Gluttony change is nice. It feels much better to play AF in single target settings where you're trying to sync your Dark Lair and your Vile Taint and Soul Rot, which is basically everywhere at this point. Having your tier bonus every half minute, it's going to be very strong in the raid. If AF's good on certain fights, it's going to be very, very good because of that. And overall, the spec flows pretty well. It flows probably about as good as it can for a Rapture-based version of AF. I know Siphon Life's there, all that. I mean, I don't know. It is what it is, but there's that. Destro, we didn't get a whole lot, unsurprisingly, again. I wouldn't mind them moving, like, Embers and Dimensional Rift in the tree, actually, so you can get Rift easy. And the bottom row will be, like, Chaos Incarnate or Embers. That should probably be a pretty good fix to the tier set, not being a capstone and breaking up all our builds. But we'll talk about that more, maybe later on this week. And yeah, Demo, I mean, Demo's doing Demo stuff. Maybe a video coming out later on this week about Demo trinkets and different builds and all that, because we're getting towards the end of PTR. Demo's looking pretty good, and there's some different builds out there with some trinkets and things they haven't discussed a whole lot. So we'll go from there. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, overall, I'd say a pretty decent build for this late in PTR. Like always, Week Wars add-ons down below, Twitch and Discord if you want them, all for free for you guys. And before we end the video, a massive shout out again to my patrons before we end it. I can't talk today apparently. Thank you all for support, guys, on Patreon. Like always, a million times, I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below in the description. And at the same time, the 10.2 Warlock PTR spreadsheet is indeed live on Patreon again for the tier 3 Bailguard rank or higher. If you'd like early access to it, yeah, links up there and up there, I guess, in that corner and down below. So. They also, I forgot to mention, they reworked Naimu today on PTR, but they have not added her to the testing tomorrow. So I'm assuming we might get testing tomorrow, or tomorrow being Friday, I guess. There's 3 bosses being tested on Friday. They might do a week after that as well for Naimu. But at the same time, talked about it last video, Halandris was the same way. It was one version on Mythic, they totally reworked it and didn't test it again. It ended up being a boss. A good one or a bad one, depending on how you feel about, Halandris. So overall, if there's testing of it, we'll stream it. If not, well, figure out when we get there. So that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. It helps out a ton. I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.